but it was stymied at the Northwood 27. Orange went for it on 4th and 1, but Jackson Schmid went on a quarterback sneak, and it appeared that his feet got tangled up as he took the snap from the center, Blake Taylor, and he was stopped on a quarterback sneak for no gain. Northwood didn't do anything with it in its final 2 possessions, and Orange really was backed up quite a ways. They were back at their own 5-yard line as the half came to an end. Orange did manage to penetrate out to the Northwood 43, but from there a couple of incompletions ended the half and ended Orange's hopes of getting on the scoreboard before the half ended. And so an Orange team which has outscored opposition 55-10 in the first quarter this year and 52-10 in the second quarter comes away scoreless in the first half of what's been a defensive struggle. And the Panthers have let some miscues get the best of them so far in this one. And Northwood taking advantage of a fumble by Peyton Wilson, leading this game 3-0 in what is, to put it mildly, a surprising halftime score here tonight from Almond Stadium. And we hope you stay with us here. We'll be with you on Friday night over at Northern Vance, our last trip for the foreseeable future for a conference game at Northern Vance, as the Vikings, who lost to Southern Durham the other night, will take on the Panthers. Northern Vance lost to Southern Durham 42-3 over at Spartan Stadium the other night. Not only that, but they lost their starting quarterback at the beginning of the fourth quarter of that game. We'll have to check on his progress as we go on through the week, but right now Orange has a lot on its mind, such as trying to keep its perfect season alive against a Northwood team that really has come ready to play here tonight and is standing toe-to-toe, giving no quarter at all to an Orange team that has become somewhat predictable offensively over the last few months, and we'll see if that changes here during the course of the second half. I want to congratulate our Orange Panther of the Week and our Cedar Ridge Red Wolf of the Week. Our Orange Panther of the Week is a name you've heard quite a bit tonight. That's Marvante Beasley, who rushed for 197 yards and 2 touchdowns last week in Orange's win over Southern Durham. And congratulations to our Cedar Ridge Red Wolf of the Week. That is Leah Thompson, who is the number 2 singles player on the Cedar Ridge girls tennis team, who clinched their first ever conference championship in girls tennis. And when I say first ever conference championship, that's not just the Big 8. That goes for any conference that they played in. Last week, Cedar Ridge defeated Chapel Hill 5-1 to clinch the conference championship. What a great job done by Lonnie Corbett and the Cedar Ridge Red Wolves girls tennis team. So Leah Thompson and Marvante Beasley are players, athletes of the week, and we're going to have more coming up. In fact, tonight's a very busy night in Hillsboro. Just up the hill off in the distance, we can see Cedar Ridge and Orange playing in boys soccer. That's sure to be a very hotly contested one, because Cedar Ridge and Orange tied in their first game earlier this year over at Red Wolf Stadium. Jamar Davis scored for Orange. The equalizer came from Trent Gill, who is not only the top goal scorer for Cedar Ridge, but also just happens to be the kicker for the Cedar Ridge football team, who is right now being recruited by NC State, and Duke, and several other schools. Wofford, I believe, has already offered him a scholarship. Trent Gill, we'll hear from him on HillsboroSports.com later on tonight. We're going to pause here for a timeout, come back and get ready for the second half. It is Orange trailing Northwood 3-0 here at the half, as you're listening to HillsboroSports.com.
The Carolina Hilltopper Foundation is helping to expand the game of lacrosse in North Carolina. Through their efforts, several local middle school programs have been able to join the lacrosse world, and travel teams have produced 8 Division I players and many Division II and III players, including several Orange and Cedar Ridge players enjoying successful collegiate careers. The fall season isn't far away. To register, visit hilltopperlax.com.
Our vehicles wind up in accidents from time to time, but where should you go if the exterior of your vehicle is damaged? Look no further than the folks over at Cardin's Body and Paint Shop, located at Highway 157 in Caldwell. For over 30 years, William, Greg, John, and Dennis have been taking care of the people in Caldwell and their vehicles whenever they've been caught up in a fender bender. So contact the folks at Cardin's Body and Paint Shop if your car winds up in an accident. Call 919-732-6611. That's 919-732-6611.
The Deer Pushers Association of America is a group dedicated to raise funds in support of educational programs, wildlife habitat enhancement and acquisition, and the preservation of the shooting sports and hunting tradition for future generations. They serve Northern Orange, Southern Person, and all of Central North Carolina. To learn more about the Deer Pushers Association of America, contact Skinny Laws or Seth King directly. The Deer Pushers Association of America, killing tomorrow's trophies today.
Count on the experts at Goss Pump Specialists for all your filtration system and well pump installation needs. Goss Pump Specialists has been serving Durham and surrounding areas for over 65 years. They install all types of well pumps and filters, including reverse osmosis systems. They also sell, install, and service a complete line of quality water softening and conditioning equipment, including chemical-free filters. Mention this ad, and you'll get $50 off your next project. Call Goss Pump Specialist at 919-477-3222. That's 919-477-3222. Or go online at gosswellpumpspecialist.com.
Chip Hamlin here with you here tonight from Almond Stadium, and had a fine performance by the Orange Panther Marching Regiment Band during the halftime show here tonight, and Orange trailing 3-0 to Northwood. Even though Orange had a solid first half on yardage, 79 plus 3 plus 11 plus 6 plus 32. 4, 12, and 32. And you had a -3 in there and a -1 in there. So Orange had 175 yards total offense, which is right at its average. This is a team that's averaging 281 yards per game. Northwood had, 9 plus 40 plus 5 plus 9 is 54. So Orange outgained Northwood 175 to 54 in the first half, but unfortunately for Orange, they just had 2 turnovers that really hurt them, and Northwood didn't have any turnovers. And that one turnover that Orange made has come back to haunt them here as they trail at the half 3-0. The turnover by Peyton Wilson, converted into a field goal by Arthur Gonclaves, the kicker, who's a top 5'7" senior. Folks asking, I think Orange is in the white uniforms at home. So Cedar Ridge, I believe, has scored. Yeah, I think Cedar Ridge wound up scoring. It's funny, Cedar Ridge, I think, has black uniforms home and away. So we got that soccer match going on up the hill, and Cedar Ridge and Orange have had a pretty hotly contested soccer campaign. Really, there's not all that much separating Orange from Chapel Hill and Cedar Ridge for first place right now in the Big 8 Conference. Individually for Orange, Peyton Wilson was the leading rusher. He had 9 carries for 79 yards. Marvante Beasley had 7 carries for 32. Jackson Schmidt had 3 of 9 passing numbers for 44 yards and 1 interception. First pass he threw was picked off. His longest pass was a 32-yarder late to Peyton Wilson. So Peyton was responsible for 111 yards worth of Orange's 175 yards of total offense in that first half of play. The Chargers will be kicking off to the Panthers to start the second half. And again, a reminder, we'll be live from Vance County, right at the border of Virginia. coming up on Friday night in Cottrell, North Carolina, for Orange versus Northern Vance. Will be on the air at 6:45, 7 o'clock kickoff. Orange will have a road trip there. They'll have another road trip against Cedar Ridge. And then they have home games against Chapel Hill and Oxford Webb. Orange has had to play for the second straight year 11 consecutive games before they got to their bye week. Orange's bye week is in the last week of the season. This is the second year in a row that's happened. Of course, Orange last year went 10-1 during the regular season. They finished 11-2. You wonder if that's catching up with the Panthers a little bit, since this is their 7th consecutive week of football in a span of 11 games. And they have 2 road trips coming up. Orange will play 2 more on the road, and that'll be their final road games of the year for the regular season. Jamie, we'll see exactly what Orange needs here for a spark, but based on what we've seen from the Northwood defense so far, this is a team that's not afraid to go man-to-man against the Panthers.
No, and why should they be, Jeff? The way that Orange is kind of half-heartedly doing anything in the first half. Marvante Beasley had a couple nice runs. Peyton Wilson ran a couple nice runs, but other than that, Northwood is dictating the tempo when Orange has had the ball. And their defense, like we've talked about, is flying all over the place. And Orange's defense is always good. They've always been good this entire season, but Northwood's doing enough right now. They're getting a first down or two, some things like that. Keep that offense sitting over there a little bit longer than they want to. And it's just, I was walking by the Orange players going into the locker room at halftime, and they were just kind of ho-hum about everything. Nobody looked angry, nobody looked excited, and it's just kind of hanging their heads walking to the locker room. And the combination of the big win last week, maybe having to wait 3 days to play this game, it's really taking a toll on Orange in this first half of football right now. And I really want to see they'll get the ball starting the third quarter. They really need to come out with a lot of aggression, a lot of energy, because I haven't seen any of it so far. The energy is in the white and green right now.
Oh, there's no question about that. Even though Orange did outgain Northwood 175-54, Northwood came away with the points as they converted that field goal from Arthur Gonclaves, a 31-yarder. And Orange gives up points in the first quarter for only the 3rd time this season. They gave up a field goal to Person and a touchdown last week to Southern Durham, and that field goal there by Gonclaves was the 13th point that Orange has yielded in the first quarter this year.
And you think about it, Jeff, Orange has never really been in danger of scoring.
No.
They haven't gone deep into Northwood territory at all this game. And for a team that scored 49 points against their arch rival last week and one of the, traditionally the best teams in the area, they couldn't look more opposite from what they were last week.
Right. Orange came out ready to play in that one, and Orange has dominated this series of late against Northwood, but it's not working out that way here to start this game. Good news for Orange, though, is that they have 24 minutes to correct things. We'll see if that's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. Football is always a game of 2 halves, and I've seen it happen a lot of times where teams are just totally out in the first half. They make corrections. Maybe they need a good tongue lashing, a good butt whooping at halftime, and they come out a totally different ball club in the second half. And Orange really needs that right now, because I don't think this Northwood team, they don't have any deers in the headlights over there.
No.
They can sniff something right now, and all the momentum in this game is sitting on the visitor side right now.
Orange sometimes has to prove they can make a big play against the defense, and they didn't have any problems doing that last week against Southern Durham with 6 plays that went over 20 yards from scrimmage, and that number goes to 9 if you count the special teams plays. And, of course, one of those, the 62-yard punt return by Peyton Wilson for a touchdown. He added on a 55-yard punt return after that, plus a 30-yard kickoff return by Marvante Beasley that led to him opening the second half with a 65-yard touchdown run.
Well, that's another thing Northwood's being smart and doing is they're not kicking to Bryce. I'm sorry, I said Bryce. They're not kicking to Peyton. They're kicking away from him. They're taking the 22, 23-yard punt as opposed to putting the ball in his hands, and I think that's smart.
Absolutely.
He's proved he can be a game breaker when he catches the ball. So they're not even messing with him.
Arthur Gonclaves on to kick the ball away. He'll kick it from right to left. It's a sky kick aimed toward Ryan Puckett. The ball goes through his hands. The ball is free at the 28, and let's see who's got it. It was muffed by Puckett, and Orange recovered it. I think it was Peyton Wilson, who seems to be everywhere, who got in. That would have been the last thing Orange needed to start off this second half.
Yeah, and Northwood actually had a good bounce right there, a Northwood player. When it went through Puckett's hands, it bounced right up in his hands, and he wasn't really ready for it. And Peyton came from the other side of the field. They kicked it the opposite field of where Peyton was, just keep